What is up, guys? Dakota here, and welcome back to the Driven Mad channel. So, as you guys can tell from the title and from what's behind me, today's video we're going to be talking about the spec of my C8 Corvette. Now, I'm probably going to do a separate exterior and then interior video because I don't want it to drag on too long. So I'll probably make those two separate. Plus, I think the interior is going to have a few more things to talk about than the exterior. And also, if you're wondering why I'm not outside, it's because currently it is like 38 degrees and it is raining, which is one, not ideal necessarily for the car, but two, kind of hard for me to stand outside of the car and go over the exterior while it's doing it. I mean, I could do it. I mean, I guess I'm just a wimp. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright guys, so here is the car, and as you can see, it is a 2020 C8 Corvette. Now, some of the options that I'm going to be mentioning have now gone up in price for the 2021 model, so just bear that in mind, and I will put those up on the screen when I go over them. So, it's a 3LT car, and naturally the first thing that we're going to be talking about, since we're talking about the exterior spec, is the color. So, this is Rapid Blue, and I absolutely love the color. I think it is fantastic. I'm super happy that I picked it. It was originally going to be either Rapid Blue or Elkhart Lake Blue, and I am super happy with this color. Now, some of you might not know that this is not a metallic color. It is a flat blue, so keep that in mind if you plan on getting one or if you're just curious. It is not a metallic color. And this was a $500 option, or a $500 upcharge, however you want to look at it. This was the only one I'd ever seen in person. So when I was originally going to spec the car, you know, I'd only seen white and orange in person, in red, but I had not seen a blue, any version of the blue in person. So I just kind of took a gamble, because on the configurator, you know, it never looks how it's actually going to look in person. But I can tell you guys with 100% certainty, I'm so glad I picked it. There's not any regret whatsoever for getting this color. All right, and next, while we're kind of down here, we'll talk about the wheels, which are a $995 option. They are the carbon flash painted wheels with the machined edge. And so it's basically what it is the standard wheel, just painted in carbon flash. Now again, on the configurator, they look gray, but they're not. They are definitely basically a black. Now, luckily, I did get to see this because, as some of you might know if you follow me on Instagram, my boss has these exact wheels on his C8, so I did get to see at least these in person, and I think they look fantastic, and they kind of remind me of a style of wheel that you could get on the McLaren 570S. Now, I know, if we go crazy, I know this isn't a McLaren. It's the closest thing I can get to one, so that's kind of why I went with these wheels. So again, a $995 option, and I think they really do look great. Now, since we are down here, let's go ahead and talk about the next thing that I got on the car, which was the Z51 Performance Package, which is a $5,000 option, which might sound a little steep, but it comes with a bunch of stuff. So, start with here. The regular car comes standard with Michelin Pilot Sport all-season tires. Whereas when you go for the Z51, you get the Pilot Sport 4S tires, which are a 245 in the front, 305 in the rear, and they are a summer-only tire. So for example, on a day like today, where it is just nasty and wet and rainy, they don't really like cold temperatures. So yeah, Z51, you get those. Then the next thing is the brakes. So you get slightly larger rotors on the Z51 equipped car, and they say Z51 on the brake caliper as well. Then the standard car, they are 4 piston calipers, which a lot of people, you know, I guess we're kind of surprised by that since, you know, basically a bunch of different Camaro models, like for instance, my 1LE had 6 piston calipers up front, whereas these are 4 piston all the way around. But I can tell you the braking is fantastic. Next, obviously, with the Z51 is the suspension. So you get specifically tuned suspension on the Z51. It's a bit more sporty. You know, it's set up for more track use and everything like that. And then you also get electronically controlled limited slip differential. You get extra cooling. So, you know, you get some extra cooling going on down there as well as underneath the car and at the front and everything. You also get some slightly different aerodynamic changes. So, you know, some of this stuff right here, this front splitter, obviously the spoiler because that doesn't come standard. And then you also get the dual mode exhaust, which sounds fantastic. Now, while we're up here, and we were talking about suspension, I did not choose to go with the magnetic ride control, simply because my 1LE had it, and the difference from tour mode to sport mode was super minute. I mean, barely any difference in ride quality. And then track mode was basically, at least in my 1LE, was basically only good for the track because it just made any road surface kind of unbearable. So, you know, and then also I got to talk to a few people who went out on the original press drives of these. You know, like for instance, Matt Moran Motoring, if you guys know who he is. You know, I asked him, you know, hey, does the regular suspension give you more feel? Does it feel more raw, a bit more connected? You know, and his opinion was that it definitely felt more connected and more raw, as well as some of the other people I talked to said that the magnetic ride control did help a little bit more with body roll when you're on the track and really pushing it, but it did kind of mute the car's feedback, which me personally, I kind of like having as much feedback in a car as possible. So that's why I didn't go with that option. I believe at the time when I ordered the car, it was like a $1,595 option, I want to say, maybe. So not super expensive, but I was willing to give it up since I left my Camaro in sport mode basically the entire time, and it still rides fantastic. All right, so one of the next things that I got on the car, dealing with the front, is I did choose to get the front nose lift, which you know, was kind of a no-brainer for me. When they announced that, I was like, yep, that's a must-have option, because, you know, it would really suck to be driving and then just rip up that whole front end. You know, yes, luckily not the entire thing is like carbon fiber, so, you know, it'd be a lot cheaper to replace than, say, McLaren, for example, or Ferrari. But still, I mean, you don't just want to scrape it up just because. So it raises the car about 2 inches. It's very quick. I think it's on an air compressor because every time you press it, you kind of hear the sound of an air compressor. And so far, it's been a great option, and you have up to 1,000 points where you can set it to remember. So every time you press the button, it'll ask you, do you want to remember this spot? If it's a place you visit frequently, you can hit yes, and then it automatically raises the car every time it detects you are at that spot. Now, working our way back towards the car, we've got the mirrors and the spoiler. So as you guys can see, they kind of match this side blade here, which is a metallic black. So again, they call it carbon flash. And to get these were actually the cheapest option on the entire car. It was $100 to get these painted in carbon flash on the mirrors and on the spoiler. So I felt like it just kind of would make that side blade, you know, kind of blend in a little bit better. And plus, with the color being such a bright blue, I figured, you know, add just a hint of black, and I think personally it looks really good, but obviously I'm a little biased. And making our way towards the back here. So again, mentioning the Z51 package, so you do get the dual mode exhaust. So, you know, you got the live valve, or the active valve, excuse me, that you can change. You get the extra cooling, a bit more aggressive rear diffuser down there compared to the standard car. As well as, one thing I did forget to mention is the gearing is also different. So, you know, you get shorter gearing, more aggressive gearing for better acceleration, but it does hurt your top speed by about 10 miles an hour when you don't get the Z51 equipped car. So next option is in the back here, and that would be, you see these LED lights in the carbon fiber engine surround. So they kind of help dress up the engine bay, which originally I wasn't gonna get. It was a $995 option. So originally I was not gonna get it, but a buddy of mine was like, hey man, the whole point of the mid-engine Corvette is to show off that it's mid-engine. So And I do think it was a good idea because, you know, the carbon fiber looks nice, the engine bay looks really good, and when you lock or unlock the car, those LED lights come on and it just kind of helps you see through the glass at night, just kind of illuminate that engine bay. And then I believe on every Corvette, it's got a soft close for the rear hatch, so when you press it, it just is a soft close, so you don't have to slam it down. And I believe that's standard across the board on every Corvette. So that's basically it on the exterior. You know, so some of you might be wondering, well, you know, why didn't you get a different color top? You know, why didn't you go with the carbon fiber or the transparent top? And basically the reason for that is kind of simple. So again, because the car is such a bright color, you know, I had a little bit of contrast, but I felt like if I got the carbon fiber roof, it would have been a bit too much contrast and kind of looked a little messy in my opinion. Again, my boss has his Sebring orange C8 and he's got the carbon fiber roof, and it looks a little messy, a little too much. And you know, and then also that's something you can always add later. You know, things you can't add later just by going, oh yeah, let's do that, is, you know, like the Z51 package, the front lift, things like that. Whereas this, all you have to do is just go to the parts department and just say, yeah, I'd like to buy a transparent roof panel for the C8 Corvette or whatever. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So anyways, guys, like I said, I'm gonna make this a two-part. We're gonna do the interior next. So I hope you guys liked this video, found it informative. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions about anything, and I will do my best to answer them. And I will see you guys in part 2. Take care.